something like that. Free shipping.
Yeah. Is it the same page for page as the PDF, or
No? The PDF is like basic D&D sort of stuff. It gives you enough.
Tiny.
It gives you enough to make a character. I know once the monster manual comes out, they're throwing in a few monsters. It's enough to get you guys started playing. I have all the rules, so if you have questions, we can fill it in. But
if you don't want to buy it, I have a friend who found this whole thing on PDF already. Like the actual one. I can have him give me the link and I can share it. Like 2 weeks after it came out, he found it.
Yeah, that's common. The internet's a completely legitimate place.
$30 from Amazon.
I figured $30 was a fair price. That's what I paid for third ed books like 20 years ago.
$30 for a big old hardbound player's handbook? I think it's very fair.
Mm-hmm.
I saw something cool where someone ordered 2 and they took their second one and they took it to, who knows who does this, but they got it spiral bound, which is pretty brilliant. For this kind of a hardcover that doesn't want to sit open and you're constantly having to thumb through. That's the one thing I really like about getting the adventures in PDF is I print them and then I put them in a binder. And this is way easier to navigate than a bunch of different, than the folding adventure packs, because I can pull them out if I need to. Single-sided, and I've really liked being able to do that.
I remember for 3rd edition they made a leather-bound one, all black cover.
Yeah.
I sold it for like $300, and I was like, I really want that, but I just can't do it.
Yeah, leather-bound can be expensive.
That was so cool looking.
One of my favorite sci-fi series, the Honor Harrington Saga by David Weber, he's been slowly re-releasing the first books, leather-bound, signed. And every single time I think, well, I don't need to get another one leather-bound and signed, and every time he releases it, I order it. And they're actually signed by him. It's not like a printed signature.
Right.
I was reading his forums, like, no, I went through and I signed hundreds of books. So that's been funny. Okay, so that means next time we get together, we're probably going to do character creation for a game that we've never played before. So if you get the books, thumb through it first. I'm going to be spending my week I'm probably going to create a character or two just to get a feel for it. The rules don't seem foreign, which is one of the things I kind of liked about it. I was reading through it.
That stats aren't the end all.
Right. There's definitely some differences, and we might play it and go back to second ed, but it'll be fun just to screw around with the new system a little bit. If we play second ed again after that, we're really going to have to probably sit down and spend an hour or two with a couple of the combat books and stuff and decide how we want to do combat long term. Because one of the things I was discussing with a friend of mine, Mike, was second ed wasn't designed for grid maps and for the kind of combat that we do where you can see everything and all these little details happen, like moving away in the middle of an initiative. Because you guys remember playing D&D back in high school, we didn't have a map at all. We just were like, yep, there's 3 skeletons. I attack skeleton 1, I attack skeleton 2, and we just kind of...
The most heard phrase was, I move to attack.
Right. Like, you just kind of winged it. And so there's times where we might be able to learn something from 5th edition where we can take a couple of those rules and smooth out our combat so that it's consistent in certain ways that right now we just kind of wing it. I think that the turn order tool was a big improvement to our combat. Do you guys feel the same way?
Yeah,
I think it makes
things up a ton.
Yeah,
I think that's made combat way quicker. I think it just explained things really well. I don't like that. Well, and the turn order tool helped the weirdness of like Nolan being on 32. I wasn't just constantly having to count off rounds, but there's definitely, even if we stay with seconds, some tweaking we can do with combat. That would make me happy as a DM to feel like that I'm giving you guys consistent. This is what happens and why. sort of thing.
Mm.
But definitely, this was fun. This was definitely still more fun than Against the Slave Lords, but
Definitely.
not as fun as Against the Cult of the Reptile God. I think that of the three we've done, Against the Cult was my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, slavers had murder holes.
Well, and now that the funny thing is now that we've been playing again for a little while, I think Against the Slave Lords we could probably have more fun with, but not enough to make me think, let's go do that. It just didn't have a lot of story or anything. If we continue this, I'm going to have to find a good module that we can springboard out of Orlane, because I like playing out of Orlane, where we have our little home base and all that sort of good stuff. So I think going to Runa was kind of annoying. Also, because Runa didn't have much of a description. Like, it was a giant city, and there wasn't a whole lot of detail to it. It was just this empty map of squares and districts, and didn't have any personality, where this kind of does. What things did you like about this adventure in particular? Like, what stands out to you?
The ease at which we dispatched Xanathos, or whatever his name was.
Xanathon.
That's the one. See, not really
I was
memorable.
not expecting him to drop that fast.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even get a cast off.
Yeah, that seems to be something that is typical with our party. It's like if there's 1 or 2 targets, everything's cool. If there's like 6 plus 10, 12, 15, and they're all like little pokey guys, they all just slaughter us.
Yeah.
Well, that's because the fumbles are so brutal.
Well, yeah, and that's honestly that's something that I was feeling as stuff I liked about this run. Stuff I didn't like. Sometimes the critical hits and critical fumbles get a bit much, and I can see why it's in a lot of the later editions. It's just a critical hits double. A critical fumble is, you drop your weapon. I mean, it can be a bit extreme.
Is there even a critical fumble in 5th Ed?
I don't know. I'd have to look.
I didn't see one. And double is just you roll your damage die an extra time.
One made a one in 5th, I think, is just you miss. Even if it would hit by the hit charts, I think you always miss on a 1.
That makes sense. Just an always fail.
Right. Now, on a realism factor, critical hits and critical fumbles are very realistic. In the heat of combat, all sorts of stuff happens that's, oh wow, that person just got decapitated, or oh geez, I just hit my buddy because my hand slipped. I think it's real. I think I would like to figure out a way where it wasn't quite so. I don't know. I would like to, especially the critical fumbles. I'd like something that's a little more consistent instead of me just having to say making something up on a certain number scale. Because there's just so many of them that it gets old. How many bowstrings can a person legitimately snap in one fight?
3?
Apparently.
Hey, I can snap as many as I have bows. And with a bag of holding, I can have a lot of bows.
We have proven that, yes.
Well, Shaglock went through 3 bastard swords in one fight.
Yeah.
That's why he carries around so many.
That's so
Now,
ridiculous.
what are some other things you guys liked about this one?
Let's see.
I enjoyed that there was a variety of different dungeons. It wasn't just one big dungeon crawl.
Yeah, it kind of
was
took
nice.
us different places, and
Yeah, we really didn't go to the same place again.
Right.
That's one of the good things about Icewind Dale. You go to a bunch of different places. The entire game is a dungeon crawl,
Yeah.
but you go to a bunch of different places.
Right.
Although I would also add from my perspective, having, no magical weapon per se, that magical missiles
Mm-hmm.
for all the, immune to normal damage.
Are you kidding? You know how wonderful it was for me to have some things that you didn't just dispatch in 2 rounds with arrow fire?
Not enough spell books.
And
That's another
to
thing
be
I like
fair,
about later
a lot of
editions.
those things would have been hurt by silver arrows if you would have thought to purchase them.
Okay. Having never played Archer in a situation where, I've always, I guess, been playing a character class where having a magical weapon really wasn't a problem.
Right.
Because it just kind of rained down on me, and I'm like, oh, I've got a magical short sword +2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Magical longswords, which our party now has 1 million of.
I know, exactly. So, it's not something that's
Trade them
like,
for enchantments.
well, silver is still kind of niche, right? It's not. In this particular campaign, yeah, it would have helped, but I don't know if that's true in general.
Right.
No, it wouldn't help against like demons and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Magical
That's another thing I
arrows
like
are-
about the later editions. There's no longer just immunity unless you have a certain weapon. It's crazy resistance unless you have that certain weapon.
I'd like to enchant my quiver with infinity.
Infinity 1. Power 1.
So
Flame
like it
2.
already is.
Power 1. There we go. Call me Hawkeye.
No.
Yeah, eventually.
I definitely...
I'm trying,
Oh, go ahead.
just trying to think of aspects of the adventure that stood out as, being cool. As a part, the premise was kind of neat, and actually feeling like taking part of the story rather than.
It felt like there was actually stuff happening.
Around.
Right.
Like if we just left, stuff was going to go bad.
Yeah, slave
We couldn't
masters just seemed
leave
kind of.
and heal for 3 days or anything.
Yeah. Against the slave lords, it didn't matter what you did.
They were just kind of there,
Right.
doing stuff.
It was definitely a fun adventure, but it wasn't as good as the last one.
As
It's
a-
cool. We're all knights now.
Yeah. That's fun.
Yeah, I like that.
I like being level 6. I'd like being level 7 better.
Yeah,
I like being 7/6.
I'm only 4,300 XP away from 7.
You should
Oh,
have,
wow.
Are you really?
you should have liked more YouTube videos.
Oh, right, I can do that.
I haven't done that in a very long time. You tempt me with that, I'll probably be level 7.5.
Yeah, that's
That's
still not going to
probably-
get me 12,000 experience.
That's probably pushing it.
I don't think I could like enough to get that much XP.
Yeah, because you've already done a
Comment
bunch
first on every.
I've already done quite a few.
of them. Comment first. Do not.
Every video first. Like 6 comments already first.
As the DM, the adventure definitely had some flow, which was nice, section to section. The writing wasn't great. There were times where some of that flow and some of that background stuff, I kind of had to put in a little bit of it to make it actually happen, because the triggers were weird. There's a lot of things that you guys were expected to do that were not well described. How would you have known to get that crystal close to Xanathon? Any logical conclusion would have been break the crystal, kill the
Yeah.
cleric. Break the crystal, kill the cleric. Not get it close to him and it makes him weak. Why would it make him weak to put his life essence close to him?
Yeah, it didn't make a lot of sense.
It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Look, how are we supposed to figure out to dust the Duke's eyes?
I know.
Right?
You could have, if you would have captured Xanathon, you could have interrogated him. It does talk about you could have forced the information out of him by threatening to kill him, and this
That
or
is
that.
so not our party.
No, not even a little bit.
Also, he was trying to trick us, so it would have taken a lot of
Take
interrogating.
no prisoners.
Right. So it was hilarious that you just dropped the stuff in his eyes. I don't know, his eyes.
In intelligence, I shove him in his eyes. And you were like, thank you.
I thought we were gonna have. I don't know how I thought that was gonna go down, but it went down much quicker than I expected. uh, that was bad. Of course, the eternal, like, there's a door in the wrong spot.
They were particularly hilarious.
That
in
was
this one.
so frustrating.
Ugh.
Yeah, the map design leaves a little bit to be desired.
But that's just 1980s TSR. There wasn't exactly a quality assurance department.
Be fair to Wizards, they at least have better maps and stuff now.
Yeah.
Still not a big fan of Wizards.
So there's some stuff to be desired there. Of course, the description, some stuff to be desired there.
You think they'd at least be able to get the drawing to match the description.
The random buildings in town thing was just ridiculous.
So what do you mean?
When you're like, I can roll to see what this tavern is.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that was.
It's basically you just happen on a tavern on chance, and I have to determine which one you find. A little weird.
Mm-hmm.
It's better just to describe the town in detail, but that was a big town, and obviously they didn't want to. What was a cool thing about Orlane is still to this point, if we want to do something in Orlane, I can tell you exactly what every single house in the village is, which is nice. So a little bit of that. Between the last couple of adventures, our magic items are still kind of skewed.
Mm-hmm.
There is some real shortfalls. We haven't no spell books at all. Not even really wizard scrolls. Is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Neither adventure had that. Also, no magical arrows at all or bows is a little weird.
No, we
I've
had
never seen this much without
we got the
magical
one
arrows.
spell book from the Naga, I thought.
You're right.
Yeah,
We
there's
did.
been a
But that
spell
was
book.
it. That was it, though.
What was that, Adam?
There's been like a spell book.
Yeah.
That was just the Naga spellbook, and there wasn't anything
That
really
was from the
useful in
Naga.
it.
There really wasn't.
2 bags of holding is a lot. Given
Living
the
straight
frequency that
universe.
those are supposed to
3
exist.
boots of elven kind.
A lot. The Basic D&D handed out those elven items like they were freaking candy, whereas they're supposed to be super rare in second ed. But oh well,
Mhm.
not now.
I like it.
Which may mean the next adventure we play with these guys, if the treasure's still kind of skewed like this, I will probably go through the DMG and randomly roll up a bunch of treasure based on what's in it, to try to even it out a bit.
You honestly might even want to just place some.
Yeah, so that you guys have magical arrows are at this point a necessity at the level you guys are getting, or else no one's going to stop being able to hurt things unless he pulls out a sword, which amuses me personally, but doesn't seem real fair to what he plays.
Are we at a point where I could craft the arrows with my Boyer Fletcher and then Devin could enchant them, or no?
I'd have to read up on the magical enchanting stuff. It's been a long time since I've read the rules on that.
Because that would be better.
That
Because
would
then I wouldn't
be-
have to rely too much on
Random chance.
random
Right.
chance, and also okay, well, I've only got 20, so I better save them for the big guy.
And the thing is, with being an archer, is your bow +1 doesn't let you hurt magical things. You have to
Right.
have arrows +1.
Right.
And yeah, I would be willing to enchant them for him.
Yeah.
In fact, I'd enchant my own.
Right. It makes sense that you guys would be considering how to do that. So
Mhm.
we can do some research into that. Well, in fact, while we're chatting, I can just start to see if it's in. Do anyone remember if that's in the DMG or not?
Not a clue.
Yeah, I'll go into
I've
magic.
never
items.
gone into enchanting in second ed camping.
Enchantment.
Enchantment armor.
What is there anything that you guys really didn't like about this one?
Lack of gnomish leather armor. Enchanted.
No.
If Chris were here, he'd probably say level drain.
Well, But it all got undid. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
sweet.
for like half the party's money.
yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, sometimes,
We had so much money.
yeah.
We
there's-
had.
You guys aren't poor, are you? I think you guys.
No.
Yeah.
Then we've got these magic items to try to sell off.
Right.
Speaking of, is
Are we Hawk or Mystara right now?
It must be in the player's handbook.
is Runa a big enough trade hub to have magical wares vendors, or no?
In my world, there's not a lot of people selling magic items. It's not a common thing.
No.
It's Mystara, Eric. You're supposed to like trip over short sword +1s all the time.
Obviously, everybody has them.
I know. Right?
Serious. It's like, you come across a homeless man begging with his magical platinum bowl.
Of charisma.
You can see he's got a Holy Avenger +10 on his waist,
Oh lordy.
+13 plate mail.
Does the fact that the plate mail is enchanted make it lighter?
I
Or is it-
think that
Sounds good.
It sounds reasonable.
Cool. It has no weight then. You can wear it, no problem.
No, wait, that is not the case.
See, he said no weight. I heard him.
He did.
I can still kill all of you.
Yeah, but where's the fun in that?
For me, in the
Yeah.
death.
Yeah, I suppose.
Pray for divine intervention.
Should be like Baldur's Gate. I should be able to be like, here's 100 gold, give me a sling +1. Those things are dirt cheap.
Man, I do not know where these rules are.
Yeah,
I don't
can
know if
find
there
these
are
on
those rules.
There are. I know I've read them. Oh, magical research maybe 113. Magic. Spell component. That's spell research. I want to make new spells. I want to put spells on items. Illusions, learning spells, schools of magic. Should not be so difficult. Anything else in particular you guys didn't like about this campaign?
Wait, what was that?
Anything you guys like really didn't like about this one?
Yes.
We know.
Chris. No. Mainly just the whole leaps of logic we have to make all the time.
Right.
I hate feeling like we're just like, well, you're going to have to tell us what it is because none of us have any idea what it's supposed to do.
Right.
And I don't think it was the campaign itself, but I didn't really get very many opportunities to really utilize my Falcon.
Yeah, we've got to figure out some way that the Falcon can be useful and fit within within the combat rules. I mean,
Yeah,
And not be too overpowered. Yeah.
right.
without yeah.
Oh, whoops, I'm still on Skype.
But that wasn't really the fault of the campaign itself.
Yeah.
That was my biggest frustration though, because like he's just sitting there on my shoulder all the time.
And you also don't want to send him in and then have him just get swatted.
Right? Yeah, exactly. He's only got 7 health, so.
Well, and who knows? Maybe in playing with 5th edition, we'll find some rules that fit that we could
Maybe.
hybrid in.
Just completely homebrew an entire version of the game.
Right. Well, my version of second ed is already over.
We've got to do something about movement because it's just ridiculous right now.
I don't. It's like my original thing of where your movement rate was just how many like feet you can move in a combat round, at least restricted it a little bit. When I realized that it was like actually 120, I don't understand how in a single combat round you can go like 90 feet.
It's because in second edition, a combat round is a minute.
Yeah.
In every edition afterwards, it's 6 seconds.
Right. So we'll have to.
So it's short bursts of speed instead.
Right.
Like, I'm
So-
going to dash 30 feet and attack this
There's
guy.
a 4th level spell called Enchanted Weapon, which basically turns a weapon into a magical.
Yeah.
But it is a limited time, though.
Right. So
Mhm.
that's not it. Magic items 8083 creating page 31. There we go.
Hey!
You must be
What?
12th level or higher. Damn it.
Probably.
That is a
Probably
lot.
higher than that.
Did you find it? Oh no.
No. I was just spewing out something that I expect to hear.
Probably 17
No,
or higher.
it probably is something like that, yeah.
Mhm.
Well, apparently the page it just told me is a lie. So
Did it tell you page 404?
magic items
Troll table of contents is trolling you.
creating 31. I flipped to page 31, which is in the proficiencies chapter. That's making a new proficiency, not creating a magical item. Oh, dumb. Let's just try page 80 first and see. 'Cause that's treasure. Who's got treasure?
Pretty much everyone.
Yeah. Got to be in the magical items in chapter 10 somewhere. Who needs money? Treasure. Who's got treasure?
There's player's options, spells, and magic. Chapter 7, spell research and magical item creation.
Like other treasure, magical items, magic rare common. Researching magical items. One of the abilities shared by wizard and priest groups is the ability to construct magical items. Not one easily used. Each one should be an accomplishment, a springboard for new adventure. The wizard's ability to research items is divided into different phases. You can cast magic missile, but you can't put it onto a scroll till your 9th level. Blah 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 blah.
It says creating magical items has been described in great detail in the Book of Artifacts and again in DM option high-level campaigns. The rules
Okay.
presented here mirror those systems and some of the process for ease of reference.
Okay, so that must be the definitive source because basically the DMG is just like players can do this. It should be difficult.
Yeah, basically.
Oh wait, no, here's some more. Yeah, it's real vague. Wow. Yeah, there's a lot. Okay. Yeah, that's it. It seems like it's geared toward being much higher level than you guys are. At least in the DMG is talking about like at least 9th level. But we might play with that and see what we can do. So. So it's funny.
Eric, you know what?
You
Go
what?
ahead.
Know what?
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, it seems like a lot of the times in second ed, you don't start to get all the cool powers until the point at which your characters are kind of at the point where you're like, oh, let's retire these guys and start new ones.
Mm-hmm.
So.
See, potions, it specifically says.
Level 32.
Double requirements. Both priests and wizards must be at least 9th level to create potions. Specialists in the School of Alchemy may brew at 6th.
That's right, I can make potions eventually.
Scrolls. Wizards may create scrolls when they reach 9th level. Priests may scribe scrolls when they reach 7th.
12,000 experience away.
Other items. Wizards and priests must be at least level 11 to create any kind of magical item other than a potion or scroll.
Yeah.
I guess we're a long way off.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they said right when it stops being useful, you can do it. Yay. All right, well, it was a good run. Sorry, Chris, you couldn't be here for the last adventure. If it makes us feel any better, he had to leave the last one early because he was arm deep in poopy. So.
Oh, yeah. So, Eric, do you know how you're going to do rolling stats in the next one for 5th Ed?
Isn't the default 46? Take the lowest out?
The default is 4d6, take out the lowest, just roll them 6 times and put them where you want.
Yeah, we'll just do. Well, we have two options. We can do that, or we can convert our favorite characters into 5th edition at 1st level.
Huh.
But it would need to be we all do the same thing.
I can't really play a multi-class at 1st level in 5th edition.
Huh?
I wouldn't be able to play Taka because he's multi-class.
Oh yeah, it works way different, huh?
Mm-hmm. Multi-classing's kind of not a great idea in 5th, it seems.
Well, you could just not do the multi-class and just make him a thief, like you originally were going to.
Mm-hmm.
This is a fun chapter. Items that no player character should create.
Sphere of Annihilation. Deck of many things.
Exactly. The next 2 items are simply so inexplicably weird that the reasons why a PC would wish to create one or the other is almost impossible to fathom. These are the Deck of Many Things and the Sphere of Annihilation.
Call them both. Yeah.
Why wouldn't a player want to make the Deck of Many Things? Everyone loves the Deck of Many Things.
And the Sphere of Annihilation. Oh, I'd rather make a new character. But if everyone else wants to import a character, I can do that.
It doesn't matter to me either way.
And also, we're getting far enough into the 2nd Ed campaign where if you guys have a character who's in the same general age range, in kind of a Final Fantasy III sort of style, we could start putting them into puzzles, and you could switch them out. So if you guys had someone who's between, what are you guys now, 6th level?
6, yeah.
Between characters between 4th and 6th level, you want to import them into the 2nd Ed campaign and say, oh, well, this time I'm going to take Shaglock instead of Valeria, and I'm going to take this instead of that. We could play around with that, too, in the future campaigns and have fun with it.
Shaglock, I think, is 7.
Well, still, that's not unreasonable. So, just some thoughts. I mean, again, nothing we're going to have to obligate ourselves to. But...
I'm actually enjoying this character a lot more than I thought I would.
That's good.
When I first made her.
Let's see, that's...
Of course, I finally get Fireball. We're going to start making new characters.
Well, I don't think this 5th edition campaign is going to take us super long. We're just going to play the starter adventure that came with the starter set, and we'll tear through it. I don't think it'll be much longer. If we're playing, we get in some full sessions, maybe 2 months. And then we're going to go back to this. I mean, even if we love 5th edition and we want to keep playing it, we just convert this stuff into 5th and play.
Makes sense.
But I think it's more likely that we'll find some stuff in 5th that we want to use, and we'll do some rule changes and we'll work with it. I mean, we'll see. You never know till you play it.
I apparently played Star Wars at some point. Hackmaster! I can import a Hackmaster character, right?
Characters you've played with me.
Oh. Hackmaster?
So that would be my paladin or Shadwell.
I don't have any of those character sheets anymore.
I have a copy of Zamza somewhere.
I don't remember what level he was. Like
Me
3,
either.
weren't we?
Which binder is that? Hold on.
Characters. Mostly 3rd. Apparently, I was playing a 4th edition campaign at some point. Or at least made a character for it. I named him Don Incognito. Homer? Who is Homer? My name is Don Incognito.
I don't know where my random binder of stuff is. I'll have to
That's okay.
find it. It's around somewhere. But
Honestly, Samzo was not that memorable.
what was he even? Yeah, it's true.
Thief fighter, I think.
Yeah.
Some form of thief, because I always am.
I've always been partial to rogues myself. But Nolan has his original bard, right?
Yeah, level 9. He has a griffin. He's awesome.
You don't have my original bard, do you?
I don't think so.
First campaign I ever played, you made me play bard.
I didn't make you
I
play
had
anything.
no idea what I was doing. Yeah, you didn't make me. You strongly suggested I should play bard.
He was my first campaign as well.
I enjoyed
Right.
bards early on because I was like, oh, you're a mage and you're a thief. And now that I'm older and have more experience, I'm like, yeah, but you're not a good mage. You're not
Or a good thief.
You know,
You're also kind of a fighter, but you're not a good fighter.
no. Yeah, you're kind of a cleric, but you're not a good cleric.
My first campaign was actually my paladin, and I roleplayed it absolutely terribly.
Yeah.
My first campaign was I Choose You Fireball.
Yeah.
That
That was
You were like, Adam, minus 5,000. You're like, oh.
and Lordy, because you would have been you must have been a freshman, huh?
I was, 14, I think. 14 or 15. I might have been a
Yeah.
sophomore. No, probably not, though.
Because you're what? You're 2 grades behind me?
Well, I was. Not anymore, Eric.
Well, now you're 2 years behind me. Right?
Yeah.
I'm still older than you. In fact,
Yep.
I'm more grades ahead of you because I have a master's degree.
My fiance has a master's degree.
That doesn't give you one retroactively.
I think it does. It's a master's in divinity. She can do that sort of thing.
Yeah, I don't think that works. Otherwise,
cleric spells and stuff.
yeah.
I have an honorary doctorate. What does that mean I can do?
It means you can be an honorary doctor. Perform surgery.
It's an honorary doctorate in divinity, so that I paid $20 for on the internet.
Perform surgery on divine people. I'm an archbishop
It's so when
in something. I don't remember.
My master's degree is at least legitimate. Not useful, but legitimate.
I have an associate's degree.
When are you done?
I don't know.
At your
It
hip?
was gonna be this next semester, or this one right now, but I was not informed of the 63 other units I had to complete.
What?
I would have had 180 something units complete at the end, so I dropped out, and I'm going to get an online degree from some other school.
If you transfer it in, you can't have that much if you have that many units.
No, because it's a CSU school, so you have to take upper division general ed on site also. And it's all stuff like ethics of being straight or something, because you're worse than other people. They're all just like awful classes like that. Like unbelievable stuff. And I was like, no, No, I'm done. I was one class away from finishing my degree, but they weren't going to give it to me because I didn't have that stuff done.
Yeah, transfer it to somewhere else.
That's what I'm doing.
It's not.
CSU.
They
Yeah.
checked your voter registration and found out you're a Republican. They're like, let's not give
I
you.
think I still have the list of all those ridiculous classes here somewhere. My international relations stuff was done, though. Like, totally.
Yeah.
One class from being done. Assuming I'd pass Japanese this time. I'm not good at languages.
You gonna go for your doctorate, Nolan?
Oh, hell no. There's really no reason to for
Yeah.
me at this point. I mean, it would. No.
The only reason for me would be if I did a Doctor of Ministry, it would be legitimately because I would learn a bunch of. If I found a program where I would learn a bunch of useful things for being a pastor, then that could be worth it. If it was like actually enriching to my learning to do stuff that I do, but it wouldn't be useful to me like just because I could say I did it. And if I did a PhD in theology, it'd only be useful for me if I wanted to like teach theology and be a department head at a seminary.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which that sounds pretty boring.
Pretty. Yeah.
And
I agree.
and now that I'm done with Bible college and I've dealt with Bible college students and seminary students, I don't like any of them. So, man, a lot of the people in Bible college are jerks. Well, like, yeah. Never mind. I don't want to be talking about things that I shouldn't be. Wait.